Hey, what's going on, RC drivers? Welcome back to the channel. I am pretty excited about today's video because we are finally going to put together all of the body parts to go on our Traxxas TRX4 Sport project. And there's a lot of cool stuff that Traxxas offers for that sport body. So let's dive right into the details here. And I'm going to start off with this body shell. Now, this is their pre-cut body, which is a great body to get if you are going to put all the accessories on, because all the holes are already pre-drilled and even cut out. Even the light holes are cut out as well, which makes assembly really, really easy. Now, I sent this down to Larry at Custom RC Graphics for this desert tan style of body. Black pinstripe on here. He also painted the black fender flares so I don't have to put the decals on. And at the time, the desert tan body sounded like a cool concept. And, you know, with the blue parts on here, I'm not sure if I made the right decision, but you know what? Sometimes you just got to own it and drive with it. And if it really gets to the point where it bothers me, I also have the Traxxas camper body I could put on this later on down the road. But I think it's got to look pretty good. I think I'm going to go with it, and I'm just going to like it. I'm going to learn to love it. But what else we also have for this is the roof rack. And here is the roof rack assembly. This is pretty cool, and it comes partially assembled. We've already got the sand ramps on here. We've got our roto packs, fire extinguisher. There's a shovel, an axe, and a jack in there already assembled onto the roof rack. And that thing looks pretty awesome. That right there looks so cool in my opinion. And then they go and give you the bed protectors in there as well. And even if you don't have a pre-cut body, they give you these masks so you could go and put it on maybe like a stock TRX4, you know, right out of the box that doesn't have the holes in. So you go and put these masks down where these are going to go, and this is a drill template basically. So you know exactly where to drill the holes so you get it right, and you don't have to do any guesswork or anything like that. Pretty cool stuff. There is an instruction sheet in there as well. Let me throw that to the side. Then we also have the headlight set to go on here. So because this is all pre-cut, I could go and put this headlight bracket set on. And so here is the front assembly. This is it's got the grill in there. It's got the chrome insert basically. Actually, they go and plate that chrome, so that's nice the way they do that. Even in the tailgate, they've got this section here with the inner chrome, so it's really got to make those LED lights shine that we're going to put in. And then, actually, here's some more masks that they give you to go ahead and, you know, drill those if you need a template. But here is the key part of what we need out of this bag for all of our lights. Here is the power module that is going to power our light sets. And we're going to put some other lights on this truck. So we are going to need to put this in, and it also gives you the LED lights for the headlights and the taillights in here. Pretty valuable set if you're going to go and you know, start customizing your TRX4. Okay, now we also have the spare tire rack. This actually mounts to the rear bumper. I thought it mounted to the rear of the body, but it mounts to the rear bumper. I'm going to show you guys how to do that. And then before I get to the lights, let me talk to you about the Snorkel. So here is the Snorkel bag, and it also has the side mirrors in there as well. And again, it has the templates on there. So if you're going to modify your stock TRX4 body, that will help you make everything perfect as far as lining things up. It's got some body clips in there to hold everything on, even some decals so you could put it on the mirror so it looks a little bit more realistic. And finally, we've got light bars. So we've got the roof rack light bar, we've got the front bumper light bar, and then we've got lights for the rack. So that's got to be pretty awesome. This thing is going to look dialed. All right, it's time for me to set everything up, and we'll start installing all these parts. All right, I've got all my parts sorted out and a game plan, and I'm going to start off with installing the rear tire mount. Now, what we have to do here is basically remove the stock rear bumper, and you're going to do that by removing these 2 screw pins. Once you do that, you'll be able to take the bumper off, and it's actually 2 pieces. So you're going to remove the bumper cover, basically, and insert this between the bumper cover and the bumper mount. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. They give you some new screws to secure that bumper down, and actually they give you little extra foam pads because there are foam pads here to protect the tailgate of the body from it rubbing against it. That's pretty cool. And then they give you a wheel nut so you can secure the spare tire. All right, let me get this thing swapped out. we've got our spare tire mount on. That was really easy to do. Next up, we're going to work on the roof rack because I'm going to put the lights on it, so you need to install those first. So I've got the front light bar. That's simply got to go right up front here, and just 2 screws hold it in place. Then I have my 4 lights that are going to go on the back of the roof rack, so those will go back here. There's these little mounts on the top of the rack where they go. And they, of course, give you the hardware to secure those down. That's really nice. And then these little stick-on plates that basically secure the wires with a zip tie, so everything is nice and neat. So I'm going to go get those installed on now. It looks like I'm going to have to drill a couple of holes in the body maybe for these wires to run through, but we'll get to that in a minute. There's all the LED lights installed on the roof rack, and I noticed something pretty cool. They have these little wire guides that you could go and tuck the wires into just to make everything nice and neat. All right, now we have to go and drill 2 holes in the body because we need to pass these wires through. They don't pre-drill those, so what you're gonna do is you're gonna set the rack right on top of the body here, and then take a reamer and just mark a little hole where the wires are gonna go through. There'll be one in the front corner here, and then one in the bed area as well. I reamed the 2 small holes, and then what I did is I took an X-Acto knife and I squared off the hole for the connector to pass through. Now you could go ahead and take the connector apart if you want to and drill a really small hole for the wires to pass through alone, then put the connector back together once it's on the other side. But I just wanted to show you guys what the square hole looked like in case this is the route you wanted to take. All right, now with that done, you could go and put your roof rack back on top of the body after passing the wires through. I'm gonna do that right now. You can just set the rack right on there and then flip it over. And then you could take these plates that they give you in the kit, these here, and just place them on top of the posts and then use the supplied hardware to screw the plates down. And you'll do the same with the rear bed protector. The roof rack is bolted on and looks really cool. Just make sure when you're bolting it down that there's 2 different screw sizes and you put them in the correct locations. The short ones go on the tailgate protector and in the top here, and the longer ones go and hold down the sides. All right, next up I'm going to skip over to the snorkel and mirrors. This is going to be a quick and simple install. If you don't have holes in your body, again, they do give you the mask so you could go and use it as a template to drill the perfect hole spots. And these just go on with some body clips. Basically, there is 1 screw to secure the base of the snorkel. That's pretty easy to install. All right, I'm going to throw these on and see how they look. Got the mirrors and snorkel on the body. Looks pretty awesome. Now it's time to move on to the LED light kit and panels for the front and rear of the body. And this is a pretty intense kit, so take your time while installing it. First up, what I did was they give you these little LED blanks, and I went and I put them into the tail lights here. And next up, I'm going to go ahead and put the tailgate panel on and the front grille panel on. And you want to do this because you're going to want to put the LED lights in once these are installed. You don't want to do it ahead of time because the lights need to pass through the body. So I'm going to go mount these up and show you what it looks like before I go and install the LEDs. Okay, I've got the front and rear panels in. The front LED module is also bolted down to the front. Next up, I'm going to take the light housing supports and I'm going to go slide the LED lights through them first. So I could go and snap the LED lights into the housings, and then I'll screw the light housing support down into place. With your LED lights bolted in, now you can install all your lenses. Next up, I'm going to install the distribution block on the rear panel here, and once I do that, I'm going to run all the wires to the block and plug them in. Each of the wires is color-coded with a piece of shrink wrap, and it will correspond with the colors you see on the distribution block. Once I have that all wired up, I'm just going to neaten everything up with the zip ties and the wire keepers that they give you, so it's got a nice clean look to it. So after that last video clip, I actually stopped working on the project because I wanted to order some of the harnesses that Traxxas has available for their lighting system. And it just makes the job a bit easier and a little bit cleaner. And I didn't have them on hand, so I had to wait for them to come in. But anyway, I got the 4-in-2 harness for the rear and the 3-in-1 harness as well. And that just went and allowed me to plug everything in the body and just have this one single plug to plug into our power module. So one thing to note in the rear is if you go and use the rack lights and the light bar, they both have the yellow shrink wrap on them, and if you try to go and plug it into, let's say, the green marker in the distribution block back here, it won't work. It has to be plugged into yellow, so that's where you would really need that 4-in-2 harness setup, so you could go plug both of those things in and then plug it into this distribution block. And the other thing that the 3-in-1 allowed me to do was it allowed me to go and plug in the extra wire that is for the light rack. Now, if you just plug it in without the extra wire, there's 3 wires, 2 plugs. If you just plug in the main 2-wire harness, it will light up the light bar, but in a dim mode. And if you go and plug in the extra single wire, it will go and make the lights a lot brighter. And of course, you gotta have the bright light. So that's how I went and set all of that up. It took a little bit of trial and error to get everything sorted out, but that's all installed now. And like I said, I just have to plug the 1 wire in as soon as I put the distribution block in, and that is the next step. So here is the distribution block for the power, and some more wires need to be run throughout the truck. The distribution block needs to get bolted down to the floor pan here, and then you need to run this single power wire over to the receiver. So you're gonna have to open up the receiver box again and plug this wire in and route everything nice and neat. They do give you the 2 screws, of course, to bolt that down to the floor pan. The other thing that you're going to need, and I don't know where I put it, there it is another Y harness. So you go and plug everything in, plug and play. You don't have to do any soldering, nice and simple. So that's what I'm gonna do right now. I'm gonna get this thing mounted up so I can get the rest of this truck back together, such as the battery tray and the receiver box back together. The power distribution block is bolted down to the floor pan. I've got the wires run over to the receiver. They're all plugged in. The box top is back on. My battery tray is back in there. I even jumped ahead and I installed the light bar on the front bumper. That was really easy to do. All you have to do is remove the front bumper, take the faux winch off, and bolt the LED light bar in place with the supplied hardware. Then you just got to run your wires back to the distribution block, plug those in, and it's ready to go. And this thing just looks awesome. I can't wait to drive it. I even like it with the blue beadlock rings on the wheels. Black might have been a little bit better, but I still think it looks pretty cool with the blue. And overall, it's just a really cool truck. I like how you can just, you know, pick parts up as you go along and add them to this body and just come out with this really cool expedition rig that should be a lot of fun on the trail as well. I can't wait to drive it. So that's going to be the last part of our series. You're going to get to see this thing all lit up, just tearing up the trails and just having a lot of fun with it overall. So hit that subscribe button and the notifications bell. And if you really like this style of video series where I'm just throwing on a bunch of option parts to a vehicle so you can check them out, hit that like button so I know you want to see these videos, and we'll try to come up with more in the future.